We're recording.
Meeting, please come to order. Barbara, please call the roll.
We have Commissioners Berard, Fleming, Funderburk, Levine, and Noonan present.
This proceeding is broadcast on Channel 35. The exact broadcast times can be found by contacting Channel 35. I wowould like to begin with the board recognition of the 2015 Recycled Water Customer of the Year recipient, Van Nuys High School. And Dr. Adams will present the award.
Thank you, sir. Good morning, board. I'm really proud to recognize our new Recycled Water Customer of the Year. This is the second year we've done this award. We have a growing recycled water customer base, and every month goes by, as you've seen from the board packages, we have more people signing on to receive recycled water. And this is really an important component of the future for the water supply for the city of Los Angeles. Every year we review all of our recycled water customers, and we actually use a staff process to nominate the folks that we think are deserving to be recognized. Today it's my pleasure to recognize Van Nuys High School as this year's recipient for the award. And they were selected because they've done a great job to really kind of pave the way for recycled water use. They were the first school to retrofit with recycled water. We've had some schools built with recycled water in place, but the first public school to use recycled water starting back in 2010, and the first non-collegiate school in the city to use recycled water. But most importantly, they actually showed that a retrofit could be done and that they could make recycled water work on their campus and not only save water, but be an example to the community and to the students as well. Van Nuys High was established in 1914. They have a residential program and magnet programs in math and science, performing arts, and medical studies. It's a central school in the valley, serving several communities that are prominent in the valley. And of course, it's been there essentially since the year after the aqueduct was finished. And so for them to be able to convert to recycled water use is a tremendous effort, and we really appreciate their dedication to this. Currently today, they save enough water for about 100 families a year by their use of recycled water. So we do have the principal, Yolanda Gardea, who is here with us today from Van Nuys High School, and I'd like her to come forward so we could recognize her representing the school as our recipient this year.
Terrific.
First, we have a certificate that you can put in your office, but more importantly, we have one of the coolest trophies.
Oh, it's a drop.
It's a big drop.
It's a drop.
It's very heavy, so with the weight of the world on your shoulders and our shoulders for conserving water, this very heavy water drop would be a symbol to all your students and all your faculty and all the staff that you have pointed the school in the right direction, and it sets an example for the rest of the city. We very much appreciate your participation, and congratulations.
Well, thank you very much. This is a great honor. I can't wait to, we have a Save the Planet Club at school, and when I tell them that we save water for 100 families, they're going to be very excited about that. They want to build berms and all sorts of things all over the place, so they're very into yes, saving water. But we appreciate this greatly. We love being the model for everyone, and both academically and in conserving water for all those that live in the valley. So thank you very much.
Well, congratulations on the accomplishment. It's notable and deeply appreciated by us, and deserving of very high praise. On a personal note, as a native Angelino, Van Nuys High School has been an institution in this city forever. Certainly, even though I'm a native Angelino, you predate me by quite a number of years. Growing up here, Van Nuys High School was always one of the central high schools in the city. And on another personal note, in case you wonder, during the summer, when the recycled water continues to keep your baseball diamond playable, you have senior baseball leagues that play on Van Nuys High School, and I personally want to thank you for that. It keeps me off the streets on Sundays.
I'm glad to hear that.
Congratulations.
Can we take a photograph?
Sure.
That's our school. That's our school.
Yeah.
Better than an Oscar. Recycled Oscar.
See what else Thunderbird.
That's our sending school. I'm Sherman Oaks.
Oh, great.
My son went to.
Oh, good.
So congratulations.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Yeah, where you were.
Right there. That's good, I should have known that.
Down to science.
Tape on the floor is permanent. Oh, okay, here we go. Right. Okay. Okay, first one, big smile on 2, 1, 2. Oh.
That was quick.
There we go again, good smile. Go, that's good. And one last one. Big smile, everyone, that's good. Very good, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Thank you very much.
Turn over to all this now. Thank you. Well, that will conclude my opening remarks. Move to the General Manager's report. Madam General Manager,
I have no report today, sir.
that's a good report in terms of expediting the meeting. Comments from commissioners on agendized items and requests from commissioners relating to departmental operations. Dr. Funderburk?
Yes, thank you, President Levine. I have the distinct pleasure to welcome two of our counterparts, Commissioner Mike Davis and Vice President and Commissioner of the Board of Public Works, Monica Rodriguez. I met them about almost a year and a half ago. Monica was very eager to make sure that small businesses, especially women-owned businesses, were getting their fair shake and fair share in procurement, and also doing things to organically help to develop business. On NPR this morning, something that I heard that I'm sure everybody is aware of is that LA is the largest metropolitan area for manufacturing in the entire country. And I think that it's something that's forgotten with the entertainment business and other higher profile businesses. But one of the things that we've done over the past year is to recognize graduates of the Small Business Academy. The 2015 LA Small Business Academy was sponsored by LADWP, the Department of Public Works, and more recently, the Los Angeles World Airports and Harbor Department. The commencement ceremony will be held on 2015, and that will be held on December the 11th, 2015, here at John Ferraro. 27 firms will be attending. And in keeping with the initiatives of Mayor Eric Garcetti related to gender equality, the 2015 LA Small Business Academy included a focus on strategies to address the challenges that women-owned firms face in the engineering and construction marketplace. The goal of the Academy is to support the growth of sustainable businesses in the greater Los Angeles area through the provision of courses that provide direct information and insight about LADWP, the Department of Public Works, and the other proprietary departments, Los Angeles World Airports and Harbor Department, on future projects and contracts. And I'll say this, and I've said it every single time in every board meeting, for all the prime contractors and their representatives who are here at this meeting, I want you to make an effort to reach out and meaningfully engage the people who I'm going to recognize today, who are 2014 graduates. And after I do that, I'm going to ask, if I could, Commissioners Rodriguez and Davis to come up and address our commission. And I again want to thank you for the time, the resources, and effort that you put in getting this important program off the ground. So, there are 7 graduates here from the 2014 LA Small Business Academy. If you could just stand. They've already gone through a graduation ceremony, so there won't be any awards or anything, but I did want to recognize them. They are David Mendoza, Allied Paving Enterprises. Can you raise your hand? Okay, so we have some paving business that our contractors are responsible for. David, thank you for coming, and thank you for attending the class. Michael Bea from Flex Connection, DBA Joints. Rafael Tavera with Hoffman Management and Construction Corporation. Susan Gutierrez on behalf of Rudy Gutierrez with Defense Company. Rebecca Flores at RAB Electrical Services. Raquel Orochena at Orochena Construction Services. And Richard Hanner at Alexa Simich Construction. Okay, it doesn't sound like Richard's here. Thank you very much, and thank you for making the commitment at a principal level for attending the Small Business Academy to you. And if I could, I'd like to ask Commissioners Davis and Rodriguez to provide any comment on their experience with this.
Thank you, Commissioner Funderburk. I am here today because I wanted to thank the Department of Water and Power and our colleagues on the Commission, for the DWP Commission, for their support of the Small Business Academy. This 10-week course has provided an instrumental look for a lot of the small businesses to actually understand what it takes to compete effectively for contracts in the City of Los Angeles. We want to make sure that this is a very transparent and competitive process. It benefits the taxpayers for doing so, but more importantly, we know that small business oftentimes is the economic engine that keeps the city moving and job creation. And so we wanted to make sure that we provided those fair opportunities for these small businesses to compete effectively and to partner up with primes in contracting for the City of LA. What I'm most proud of for this 2015 class is that we've managed to achieve a 50% women business enterprise participation in this program, and that's incredible. Given that I believe we only had about 3 women-owned businesses in the class last year for the inaugural class, that's a huge tilt in the right direction. And we could not do this without the collaborative support of so many of the proprietaries in the City of Los Angeles. The Department of Public Works clearly has a lot of contracting opportunities, but a number of the other proprietaries and departments in the City of Los Angeles offer equal opportunities as well. And the commitment to supplier diversity, I think, is imperative, given that, as you mentioned, Commissioner Funderburk, part of Mayor Garcetti's vision for the city is that we have contracting that looks like the people of Los Angeles, and having that diversity is imperative. And I want to thank you for providing your instrumental and continued support for this effort, because it is our obligation to help ensure that we make this a very competitive process, and educating these folks through this 10-week course is a very helpful step in the right direction. So I want to thank you for your continued commitment and support to ensuring the diversity of our supply chain and contracting opportunities in Los Angeles. So thank you very much. And Commissioner Davis?
Good morning, Chairman Levine and Commissioner Funderburk and the entire distinguished commissioners here at the Department of Water and Power and the executives here assembled. As the representative for the Board of Public Works and specifically the liaison to contract administration, I'm here too to echo the compliments that have been given to your board. And I believe the collaboration is critical in terms of us really matching resources in the City of Los Angeles and being inclusive. We are a majority-minority city, and I think your leadership stands out, and we could not do this outstanding job that we have done without the help of the Department of Water and Power. And so I'm here to particularly thank you. And I want to say on a side note, you still are the place that everybody in the city wants to work. So I will tell everybody in City Hall that I have come here. But I also want to say that when we look at the leadership in the city with Eric Garcetti, of whom I'm proud to work with, he has what he calls back to basics. These are our guiding principles for every department in the city of Los Angeles. Now, he talks about a livable and sustainable city, of which your mission is inextricably tied to that. But I want to underline his second objective, which says that we will promote good jobs for LA and all across LA. And that is today what we have been able to achieve, Commissioner Funderburg, in this program. And also I want to say, particularly in South Los Angeles, many of those communities of which I'm very intricately involved in, we have matrifocal families, families that are led by women. And so I am extremely pleased that we have opened the doors. You know, in Washington, President Obama is talking about increasing the salary for women so that women can have equity in pay. So I think that what we are doing today in the training in this program really speaks to that, and I think that that is what America is all about, and I'm glad that the dream can start and be enacted right here in the city of Los Angeles. So again, on behalf of the board, I thank you so very much for the work that we're being able to do together. Thank you.
Thank you, Vice President and Commissioner Rodriguez and Commissioner Davis and former Assembly Member Davis, who true spokespeople for equity and the three legs to the stool of equity: procurement, employment, and project siting. I almost had a Rick Perry moment there. So
We would never accuse you of that.
I have so many, I get very emotional, as you know, about this, and I think that taking care of the economic divide and the income inequality that exists, this is one way of doing it. It's a very strong gesture. It makes use and allows LADWP to leverage the economic engine that it is to create these opportunities. So thank you again for coming. Thank you for continued support. And thank you, President Levine, for allowing me to take this time, which is a little more than my normal comments, to share this with the...
Well, they're important comments, and I know that every member of the board shares your appreciation. And on behalf of all of the members of the board, thank you both for your leadership and your thoughtful and eloquent comments. Okay, we will move to public comment. Barbara, we have one speaker card.
Yes, the speaker, item 4, is Wayne from Lake Hughes.
And this speaker has comments on 3 matters, so you have up to 2 minutes on the first one and up to 5 minutes on all 3 combined.
So, total of 7?
No, a total of 5. Once you've done your 2, you have 3 left. You can save some of it if you want for the other 2.
Oh, nice. So here we go. My claim at my ranch has still not been resolved. Now, you did pay a settlement to the prior owner. I found out that much because she sued you for personal injury damages and personal property damages and an aggregated claim for property damage. But I did not sign a release for property damages. The recent rains have caused further erosion of the ranch property. Now the water system has been destroyed by further flooding. And your department makes no attempt whatsoever to communicate with me and even give me a case number on my claim that I filed with your agency. They claim that I can file for something called an inverse condemnation. So why not just settle the claim with me? The damages are there, the liability is sustained over in the Superior Court building over on Commonwealth Avenue right over here in LA. They're going to be trying the first of these cases in next year and early next year. So, again, these 2 commissioners that were just here, I attended their board meeting, the Board of Public Works, and I mentioned that today is the big day, item number 30. Because what's going to happen today is that what happens every year is $266,957,000 of our ratepayer money that does not belong to you, it belongs to us, the ratepayers, is going to be given to Herb Wesson Jr. and the City Council of Los Angeles illegally. you're being sued because they've told you that this is illegal. These are illegal transfers. But you don't care. You're going to go ahead and approve it. And then if you lose, you're going to have to re-emerge those funds into your budget. So I've got this little machine here. It gives me the time, so I can watch the time here as it goes by. But I'll have more to say about it later. It's a crime to take that money, and you're being put on notice.
We now move to comments from ratepayer advocate on agendized items. Dr. Pickle, let me just ask you a procedural question. First of all, thank you very much for providing me with a list of the items you want to comment on. 3 of them are on the consent calendar. I would hope that there would be no need to remove them from the consent calendar and that you could address your comments on those 3, 10, 12, and 16 at this point, if you don't mind.
That'd be fine. And I think that would be more convenient for the board. The first pertains to item 10, where the Department of Public Works Bureau Street Lighting is being paid 15 cents for solar power being delivered from street lighting attached solar. I think it's important that this uses the feed-in tariff price of 15 cents a kilowatt hour that's used for small feed-in tariff 100 projects, but it doesn't decrement the amount remaining for others. But I think there are 2 things here. One, ultimately, not at this time, I'm not recommending a change here. This should be counted against the feed-in tariff 100 quantities. And 2, I think that sets an important stalking horse for other small solar investments, including utility-built solar investments. And then finally, as part of our rate review, we're going to be looking at all intra-city payments by fiscal year so that we're not just looking at these one by one, but we have an aggregate number to look at in the budget to see any changes or increases over time. So we can monitor them in aggregate and not just individually. My next comments pertain to the Beacon Solar item number 12, where they're asking for non-monetary changes, changes just in the schedule, just in deadlines. We're fine with that. We don't think we have no objection to this, as long as the deadlines, the final deadline is ultimately achieved. We would want to understand any monetary changes in much greater detail because of the impact on customers. But there are no monetary changes proposed here. And then on item 16 on charges for DWP work on telecom or on behalf of telecom providers, the existing contract provides a $4,000 per pole fee. That's flat and doesn't change with inflation. With this new agreement, which extends up to 30 years, I think it's important, and the city has to be complimented by recognizing that that number needs to be changed over time to allow for inflation and labor cost changes. So that's an important improvement in this agreement. I have other comments on items 25, 26, 27, 29, and 30, and we can address those at that time.
Terrific. Thank you very much. Okay, as the first item on the consent calendar, which we'll take up separately, is approval of the minutes. Is there
I
a
do have a
motion?
speaker card for item 5.
Oh, I'm sorry. Speaker card for item 5.
Okay, the speaker is Wayne from Lake Hughes.
So they call him the ratepayer advocate. It's a joke, it really is. This guy's not a ratepayer advocate. He's a $265,000 a year puppet for the city council. It's not our ratepayer advocate. They cancel our meetings for our outreach. They raise our rates with this one over here in the valley. So how is this a ratepayer advocate? When do we as ratepayers get to vote on somebody to represent us? We don't get a vote. It's the only organization in business where the stockholders, the shareholders, get no vote for anybody who manages it or anybody who represents it. This is nothing but a joke. This guy does nothing. He should be fired from his job. He's not doing anything but collecting a big fucking stipend and just sitting there and agreeing with you. And, and I'm going to love his comments on number 30 because you know what he's going to say? It's needed, right? Number 30 is needed. You wouldn't get up and tell the truth that it's illegal and it should not be done. It should not be done. But you won't say that because you don't represent the ratepayers. You represent them.
We will now move to approval of the minutes. Is there a motion to approve the minutes of the regular board meeting of November 17th?
So moved.
Second, those in favor? Aye. It's, they're approved. We have currently on the consent calendar items 7 through 24. Do any commissioners wish to remove any of these items from the consent calendar?
I have one.
Which one, Commissioner Barad?
Item 18.
Commissioner Barad removes item 18 from the consent calendar. Are there others? Is there a motion?
I'm sorry. I actually would like to follow up on a comment that Mr. Pickle made relating to item 16.
So
my
we'll
question will be very short.
Okay, we'll remove 16 for Commissioner Noonan. So is there a motion to approve items 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 17, 19, 20, 21, 22, 23, 24?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Those items are approved. Commissioner Noonan, item 16.
Morning, Commissioners. So I actually have been involved in this item for quite a few years, and so I'm glad to see that it's finally made it to this agenda. But following up on Mr. Pickle's comment, I'm just reviewing the fact that we have the right to change out the application into our work fee, but who's going to be responsible for deciding when to address that? And, I just want to make sure that that's going to be monitored because we are talking about executing agreements that, may start at 5 years and continue on for 30 years. So I think his point is a valid one.
The original fee structure we came up with was in consultation with the operating group, the overhead transmission folks, because any of the work that's done on our towers are only done by DWP personnel. So we are going to have the overhead personnel or overhead group review the fee structure and comment before. So when we're entering to the agreements, then we will present those updated fee structures to the carriers in advance of any of the work that gets done. But we currently, I think, only have 5 installations that are on our towers. All the other ones going forward we have on monopoles. So this would be for a very limited number of installations that we currently have.
Okay, good. That was my only question. Thank
Good. Any other questions or comments? Is there a motion on item 16?
So moved.
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Thank you very much. Commissioner Barad, item 18.
Okay. Is who? Okay. Okay. In terms of hiring someone for tax advice on all our property for $300,000, I don't see that as an issue. However, we're paying $27 million in property taxes. Now we're talking real money. And what I would like to know, because I don't see this in our background information, whether there will be a full accounting of each property that we own, because I don't see that in the contract with the company.
Ann Santilli, Financial Services. Real Estate Division has a property listing of all the department's properties. The majority of our property taxes are paid in Inyo-Mono County because we own much of the land out there. But what this contract is for is to assist us with taxes, mostly in out-of-state. Our ownership of Palo Verde Nuclear Decommissioning, a nuclear generating station. In the past, they've tried to tax our Nuclear Decommissioning Trust Fund. We own partially the Mojave land where the generating station was. The taxing agency out there tried to assess taxes on that property for its future value. And what this contract allows us is to have an expert to help us fight some of these tax increases. So this consultant doesn't help us with any acquisition of property or accounting for our number of parcels. It's when we have a tax bill, they help us maintain the lowest taxes available.
Okay, I understand that. Now, in the background, it says that we pay 80% is for filing in California.
And the bulk of that is in Yomono County.
Okay.
We're exempt from the city of LA, but in the county of LA, we have to pay taxes on the acquisition price.
And then there's out-of-state filings in 4 states, Nevada, Arizona, Oregon, and Utah. But my question is still, how do we know whether these properties are being used? Are they utilized? Are they vacant? I mean, we're paying tax. We're paying property tax. And I think that the ratepayers need to know what we're paying. It's their money. What are we paying for on these properties? And that's why I'm asking whether there will be a full accounting of the property. You're telling me that this company will not do that.
They won't do that, but the department will. We have all the tax bills from out of state that we receive, and we could definitely provide that as an item back to the board saying, here's the assessed value of the property, what it's used for, and the taxes that we're paying on it.
So you say that DWP has a department that would be able to give us a list of every property that's owned by DWP and where it's being utilized, where it's not being utilized, where there is a lease, with those that are improved, those that are not improved. Do you have all that?
Commissioner, if I could interrupt briefly. What Ann is offering is to provide a summary of all the places we're paying property tax and to be able to clarify the utilization of those properties. What you're asking for is something basically company-wide. All of our properties, what are they being used for? How are they being utilized? Is it in the taxpayer's best interest?
But
Is that correct?
we're paying property tax on every property that
No.
we own.
No, we don't.
Not in the city of LA. We don't pay property taxes in the city
So
of LA.
what are we paying for $27 million?
The bulk of it is in Yomono County. All of the land that we own up there for the water rights and.
So, Commissioner, could I suggest that we produce a list for you that further breaks out the $27 million in some better granularity that hopefully that will show where
Yeah,
most of
I would like to know that what we're paying for.
Okay.
And if there is property that's not being used, then that in fact could be sold.
We've done surplus property analysis before. A lot of our property remains either in trust or as part of a settlement or as part of a mediation. There's a lot of wildland up in Yomono County that would indeed be a bit challenging to sell, that we promised years ago as part of other concessions to hold that for example, either habitat or a recreational use.
Okay, I think that I certainly would. I'm requesting a full accounting of our property and how it's being used and how we're spending, $27 million in property taxes. And I think that we need to see an analysis of that. I would have liked to have seen that before we hired a firm to do this, to do our property taxes. I think that would be first.
I would suggest, ma'am, the analysis of where the $27 million is and how those properties are being used is in part separate from hiring this firm who is trying to assist us in ensuring we pay the lowest property tax possible. It doesn't preclude any later review by this commission of wanting to sell a piece of property. But there are, particularly in other states, there's a lot of gamesmanship that goes on trying to shift their responsibilities into DWP. And in part, this is what this firm's being hired to help us with.
Yeah, I see that, and I see that they're not going to come up with any. There's nothing in the contract where they provide any kind of accounting of what we have or any report, and that's what I would like to see is how the money's being spent, and wherever it is, and that perhaps some of this property could be used another way for multiple use, or leased, or sold, or whatever. So I think if you could provide that.
So we'll provide a list that further breaks out where that $27 million in property taxes come from, and we'll get that in better granularity, and let us start with that.
I mean, like an inventory in what the value is there.
Of the $27 million
yes.
in property, right.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thank you.
Any other questions or comments on this matter? Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's passed. Thank you very much. Okay, we move to the regular agenda, and the first item is item 25, Electric Vehicle Charger Rebate Program for Home, Workplace, and Public Charging, Charge Up LA.
So I'm going to invite Scott Briasco and Jack Weisenegger to come up to make some brief comments. But just for context, our EV charging program has been terrifically successful. And what we're doing is making some modifications to the program to really look at the future. And they're going to describe that briefly and then offer you the opportunity for more information as you warrant.
Good morning, Commissioners. I'm Scott Briasco with the Electric Transportation Program here. And what we're requesting is approval to implement a new rebate program. We currently have a rebate program at the department for electric vehicle charging stations. As Mike's mentioned, it's been fairly successful. It provides rebates for residential and commercial customers. So on the commercial side, it's workplace and public charging stations. That program that is in place right now expires at the end of the year. The program that we're proposing will continue with residential rebates and really emphasize more on the commercial sector, because we think that commercial rebates are very important. Those rebates, again, for workplace, public, and multi-unit dwellings is really kind of lacking right now. So in order to really address range anxiety and some of the other important impediments to electric vehicle usage and adoption, we feel it's important to really ramp up the commercial sector rebate program. And we have a short presentation, or can answer questions if you'd like.
Are there questions? Do people want to hear the presentation?
I think you should do the presentation.
Okay,
sure.
Good. Let's do that.
So the board has previously approved 2 rebate programs. The first rebate program was approved in May of 2011, and we were providing rebates of $2,000 per charger installed, really focused only on the residential sector. The current rebate program, which was approved in August of 2013, provides rebates of $750 per charger installed, so not only residential but for workplace and public locations. Both those programs very successful. We've issued approximately 1,600 rebates, expenditures of $2.1 million. So the current program, again, expires the end of this year. The new program to take effect January 1st. Again, continuing with the residential customers, the rebates of $500 per charger installed, $250 additional for customers that install a dedicated EV service and a time of use meter. The commercial customers are going to see rebates ramping up to $4,000 per charger installed. So again, those are for workplace, public, and multi-unit dwellings. The program also has an element to support our city department partners that install charging stations for electric vehicles that they're going to utilize in their fleet. We'll be providing up to $1,500 per charger installed at those city departments, up to 50 rebates per city department per year. The program also provides assistance for disadvantaged neighborhoods. The city's EV car sharing program in disadvantaged communities will be providing up to 80 rebates to support that effort. The program also supports usage of used vehicles. So previous program was only for new purchases or leases, and the new proposed program for customers that buy used vehicles, they'll be eligible for the rebate program. And we're looking for maximum of expenditures for the rebates of not to exceed $21.5 million. So the emphasis, again, is really kind of on the commercial sector, and the reason we're doing it is because participation under the current program for commercial customers has been really low, and that has to do with the low rebate levels or amounts that we're offering, coupled with the high installation and hardware costs. So we really kind of need to ramp that up. Workplace and public charging addresses range anxiety, which is an impediment to increased EV adoption. The current ratio right now in Los Angeles is 18 plug-in electric vehicles per public charger, which is really inadequate. Workplace and public charging provides an opportunity to really visibly promote EV adoption and usage. What we're seeing is that these chargers really sell electric vehicles. Increased commercial rebate levels address the need for chargers in multi-unit dwellings, which we think is important because over half the population here in Los Angeles lives in an MUD. The residential rebate levels in the proposed program are adequate to cover most of the level 2 charger hardware costs. It's just really the commercial sector, again, with those more expensive installations and hardware. So electric vehicles are important. They're important to the city. They're important to DWP. We want to encourage electric vehicles. They promote a green environment. This technology is 75% less polluting on greenhouse gas emissions. Tailpipe emissions, either zero or very near zero, to improve local air quality. It's a good thing for our customers. When you charge your electric vehicle at home with our off-peak rate, it's equivalent to about $1 per gallon of gasoline, so there's some real value there for our customers. It's better use of our utility assets when people charge during off-peak, and as we integrate more renewables into our system, it's really going to be something that will help us utilize those renewable assets. And it's really a new energy market for us and a revenue stream. So it's a win for our customers, and it's a win for us. And I can answer any questions that you might have.
So on the previous slide, in bold, you said these chargers sell EVs.
Mm-hmm.
Do you have some data to back that up?
It's really anecdotal. We're hearing that companies that install electric vehicles for workplace charging, employees are 20 times more likely, there's some surveys, 20 times more likely to purchase or lease an electric vehicle if their employer has workplace charging. As the chargers are out there, at workplaces, people talk about them, and it really creates a lot of buzz for the technology.
So I have a plug-in, so you're not going to get a pushback on the need for it. Although I have to say, so I have a question as well. But so I have no trouble finding a place to charge my car in the city. And you said the current ratio is 18 per charger. What's the correct ratio?
So it's a little debatable, but I think there's some data out there that suggests 4 or 5 to 1 would be a good ratio.
So my problem with this proposal today is, one, it's a very large amount of money. I'd love to see some data that backs up that having increased chargers sells EVs. if you look in today's New York Times, there's a great story about the decline in purchasing of plug-in vehicles. There's a whole host of reasons as to why chargers are not the challenge, though, for that. So I'm also troubled. Why is part of this rebating city agencies? It seems to me we're kind of incentivizing folks who don't need an incentive.
Well, we are, the mayor's sustainability plan has some targets for city fleets to adopt electric vehicle technology, and we want to provide some incentive to really help kind of get there. So that's why you're seeing.
Don't those departments already have incentive? I mean, they're already a city department. They work for the same guy we all work for. Don't they have their own incentive to get chargers on their own? I'm trying to figure out why we're giving a rebate to another city agency to do something that you seem to think they should be doing anyway.
Well, we're trying to promote the technology. We want those city departments to embrace this because we think it means a lot.
So if we don't give them an incentive, then those city agencies that all work for the same person we work for aren't going to embrace this.
So let me weigh in just a little bit here. I think the city agencies are only a piece of this whole puzzle. It's really getting the chargers into the commercial enterprise out there, and they don't have the same incentive that we have, because what we're trying to do is we're trying to achieve an 80% greenhouse gas reduction goal in really a few short years. I mean, I know it's 2030, 2040, 2050, but for us to get there, we cannot do it with renewable energy alone. We have got to really change out the transportation sector. So not only for GHG, but also locally for AQMD and NOx control, that's the only way that they're going to hit their goals as well. So without chargers, people will not be incented to buy electric vehicles. So we need to get chargers into the commercial arena.
So what I'm looking for is the backup that supports that contention, right? In my gut, I probably buy that it's true, but there's nothing in here that shows me that, there's no data here that shows me that that's true.
And Scott, is it reasonable to assemble the data that we have, the survey data and some of the expert data that's been developed, and put that into a package?
Sure. I think we can bring back some more information.
And that's I think it's probably a good idea. I'm probably supportive of it on some level, but there's no data to back up all this. The plural of anecdote is not data, right? And so it's nice to have the anecdotes, but I couldn't move it forward if it didn't have something.
And we're happy to provide the data that we do have.
It's always speculative. In discussions I was having prior to the meeting, we were talking about the fact that these targets have already been set for us. And to us, they're largely imminent, and they're impossible to do without a much broader strategy. We have it in the renewable portfolio package, but any proliferation of this, particularly in transportation, the electrification of this sector is one of the few remaining revenue streams for us. So getting greater adoption in the commercial level is critical. The numbers I can offer is right now we are 11% of the greenhouse gas footprint, the stationary utilities. The transportation sector is 34%. We're not going to be able to hit our goals unless we can cause changes in the greenhouse gas sector in transportation. So it's kind of a multi-pronged benefit, I think.
Right, I agree with all of that. I would just love, if we're going to give incentives to commercial customers, many of whom I think don't need the incentives, but even if one agrees that they do, I would love to hear from someone from the commercial sector standing here saying, if I had the incentive, we would install this many more chargers and they would be utilized at the following rate. And then that would achieve the goal that you're talking about.
Certainly. We'll pull that data together. I believe we have it. We're in a number of EV consortiums, not only locally but within the city. There's been a lot of survey data. We'll pull that together.
That'd be great. Thanks.
Do you want to defer this item?
I would love it if we could defer it.
I had a couple of questions if they could include in the report, and I would be deferring it. One is, do we plan on selling electricity from these chargers at any point in the future, and when?
Well, we are selling electricity right now.
So it costs to plug into
any residence or any commercial. Whether they pass the charge on or to a user is another question, but someone is paying for either the resident or the business.
And are we getting renewable energy credits for this effort at all?
Yeah, we are getting low carbon fuel standard credits. So there are credits that are being generated, and there's a value to those credits.
However, we are still continuing to advocate that from a statewide level, we need to capture additional credits for incentivizing these vehicles so that we can use them to offset some of our GHG mandates that we think are coming. And, you know, the conversation's still out. Can we also use it to offset some of our renewable goals? But that is a conversation that is happening locally, is happening at the state level, and more to come as those dialogues develop.
Well, I've always been a big proponent of trying to include externalities in some of these proposals so that you can monetize these benefits, and if they are directly translatable in terms of GHG RECs, then I think that that would be important to include so that the Commission can see an additional economic benefit of what you're proposing.
And we're advocating to get there.
Great. And the last thing is if you can just include in, and this should not be that much, it sounds like there are 1,800 of these that have been installed in the city?
1,600 rebates issued.
I'd just be interested in knowing where they're going in the city if we have an equity component. I know I like the fact that you talked about the disadvantaged neighborhood rideshare program, but I think that there are a number of working class people in some of our council districts that they own homes. They might be buying plug-ins off lease or used, but they still might have a need for this. And looking at that element of the demand equation, I think, would be important. So I'd like to know where these units have been going, to find out where these rebates have been going. Thanks.
Commissioner Broad?
Yes. I've noticed more and more of these units appearing, at least in the valley, in the west side, in the markets, in the parking lots of markets, and also in the shopping malls. I'm wondering, what's your outreach? How do you go about getting the commercial vendors on board?
We're relying quite a bit on the companies that actually install the chargers. There are several of them out there, so they're helping to do the outreach and approach those customers. I think what we want to do with this new program is have even more outreach and use our folks to reach out to the customers to promote the program. Once the dollar levels are ramped up where it makes sense for the commercial customers, it will be something that...
Well, could something be included in their bill?
Could
I mean, that's how
bill stuffer.
That's how messages get to the residents. And I'm wondering if you could include something in the bill that goes out to the commercial vendors.
Okay, look at that.
Now, how did you arrive at the $4,000 rebate? That number? Sure.
So we actually met with the major installers of this hardware that they're currently doing the installations, and we came up with that number based on the dollar amount that it would take to sort of move the needle. And
to what? I'm sorry.
To move the needle to get more public commercial chargers installed. The installations of the chargers are really site-specific. The costs can range anywhere from the cost of the charger and the installation, $5,000 to $10,000 per charger installed. So we thought if we target 4,000, that would be an adequate number based on our discussions with the installers.
So now, in a mall, for example, they have that at Westfield. Do they get the rebate for one charging station, or if they have several, do they get $4,000 for each?
It would be $4,000 for each install.
For each?
Correct.
Okay. I don't know how I share Commissioner Fleming's. I feel it in my gut, but I don't feel it up here. So Seems like a lot of money to me. Thank you.
Is there a motion to defer this item? Oh, I'm sorry, Dr. Pickle, even though you gave me your list.
I think Ms. Edwards' comments on important for the growth of the business are true. There is no sector, no component of the business that's growing right now. So transport is the one area that is important, and ultimately we have to proceed in this area, but I believe it's better to have more informed decision. I had the same question as Commissioner Fleming, and that is, what quantitative market research have you relied upon or done in this area, in particular on the impact on influencing installers? And I too react strongly to hear that, oh, we talked to the industry and they see $4,000 is needed. I reacted the same way to the solar industry saying they needed 17 cents. This is, and if you were asking me what I needed to do something, I would certainly estimate high. So I think specific quantitative research is important here. We shouldn't hold up if it's not immediately available, but we should be prepared to produce it over the next year. And we're stepping up our overall budgeting in this area. We spent $1.1 million for electric vehicles in 14-15. This year, we're intending to spend just under $5 million. And for the next 4 years after that, we are looking at numbers between about 6.5 and almost 7 million per year. So if we're going to proceed down this path, we need to support it with specific quantitative research, whether it's relying on industry-wide research or doing our own.
Thank you. Is there a motion? Madam General Manager, did you want to?
The only observation I want to close with, sir, is we are so large, a lot of times the industry research is not necessarily indicative because these are all developing areas. Part of the reason of doing this is you do it for a year. If you're not getting the movement you want, if they're set too high, if they're set too low, that creates the basis for your own research. So while we're happy to defer it, while we're happy to answer a lot of other questions, we're not going to be able to create as broad and solid of a base as I know this board would like. Perhaps then the answer is to go more in stages, to do something smaller for a year, quantify the impact locally. But I just do want to make that. We can't always wait till we have 10 years of data.
Important point. Thank you. Is there a motion to defer this item to the next meeting?
I'll move.
Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's deferred. Thank you, gentlemen. Item 26, energy cost adjustment expenditures for the 12-month period commencing January 1st, 2016.
So this is the energy pass-through adjustment, and one of the things that this shows actually is the benefit of a pass-through adjustment. In this particular case, the rate is actually going to go down, and you can see in the first paragraph that it's going to reduce our typical customer's bill by about $2.62, which is roughly 3%. This is primarily due to lower natural gas costs, and our projections are showing that for fiscal year 15-16, the current year that we're in, that will end in June, compared to our rates the prior fiscal year, there'll be about a 1.5% reduction for the typical customer with this natural gas going down. We have a presentation we can give to you if there's any other questions.
Any questions? Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Thank you. Oh, I'm sorry.
We reviewed it, and it's okay.
I'm getting better. Dr. Pickle. Dr. Pickle?
We have reviewed it, and it's okay.
That's the most persuasive testimony we've heard in a while. Thank you. 27.
And again, this is another pass-through. This is for, on the water side, for demand-side management, reclaimed water, water quality improvement. And again, what this shows is a reduction, a pass-through, and it shows a rate reduction. While we have some increases in demand-side management and reclaimed water, it is more than offset by the decreases in purchase water costs. Now, that being said, we assume 100% snowpack. We don't know what the snowpack's going to be. I think right now the projection is 64%. It's early in the year, obviously, but that's what this resolution is based on.
What's the percentage here? That
We assume a 100% snowpack.
No, the
Reduction.
decrease in the water bill.
So it's virtually the same. It ends up being about a 3-cent reduction on the water bill, which I think the typical water bill is like $50.
Dr. Pickle.
We have reviewed.
Do you have a speaker card for 27?
Oh, I'm sorry. Forgetting everything. Okay, speaker card for 27.
Okay, the speaker is, I believe the name is Hems, H-E-M-S. For item 27.
Okay, I'll now entertain a motion. Is there a motion? Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. It's approved. We move to item 28, contract number 7657 for construction of Owens Lake Dust Mitigation Project, Phase 9 and 10 with OHL USA, Inc.
So it was a year and just about 2 weeks ago today that we were all in very much a celebratory mood after having settled with the Air District up in the Owens Valley over Owens Lake. Cornerstone, at least from the district's perspective, was that we would continue to control dust on Owens Lake in what we call Phase 9 and 10. And so what we bring to you today is the construction contract that will produce dust control measures on 3.62 square miles on Owens Lake.
Are there any questions or comments? Is there a motion? I move it. Is there a second?
Second.
Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? It's passed. Thank you. We move to item 29, amendment number 7 to agreement number 475537 with International Business Machines Corp. for software licensing, software subscription and support, and monthly license charge software.
We have about 3 years ago negotiated with IBM for normal sorts of licenses and software support to reduce charges by about 50%. We will look at, if you approve this, an extension of the agreement for these normal ongoing expenditures as we look at negotiating for a deal that's lower. We do have a presentation if you'd like to see it, or could move forward with this.
Do people wish to see the presentation or proceed? Dr. Pickle?
When this comes back again with the revised version, we'd like to see this in the context of a roadmap on IT.
Is there a motion?
So moved.
Second. Those in favor?
Aye.
It's approved. Thank you. We move to item 30, transfer of money from the Power Revenue Fund to the Reserve Fund of the City of Los Angeles during fiscal year 2015 and 16. We have one speaker card. Let's begin with that. Barbara?
Okay, the speaker is Wayne from Lake Hughes.
How much time does he have remaining?
1 minute, 53 seconds.
Well, here it is, the moment we've all been waiting for. It's not enough that on a typical house, you get $74 every 2 months for your trash fees. On top of it, a 10% utility city tax, 12.5% on commercial bills. And every 100 cubic feet of water gets doubled to $4.10 for something called a sewer service charge. So that's not enough money. There has to be an additional reserve fund and transfer of $266,957,000 from a utility that on the outreach meetings, you need $1 billion immediately to replace these bad, worn-out poles that are ready to fall over all over the place. So in reality, the rate increases being proposed is really to give this money over to the city council to do with whatever they want to. And our Constitution in California, the voters passed Prop 218 and Proposition 13 requires a vote by a majority on a quote-unquote fee by those affected. That would be us, the ratepayers. I never got a ballot. Did I get a ballot for the $268 million? I voted no. I didn't vote for this, and nobody did. So you don't care. You're just going to pass it, and then the Peter Pickle man's going to look at it and say he reviewed it and he finds it reasonable. But I promise you this: in New York, they just put away one of the most powerful politicians, the Speaker of the Assembly in New York, for 17 years. Your day's coming. It's coming, because you can't do this. The utility needs the money for maintenance. The place is falling to pieces. You need that money right now to repair poles and to repair the water system that's broke. Don't do this. You need the money for repairs.
Who is presenting this item?
So I'll present, and Ann Santilli is available for any questions. We're required by the city charter to state the transfer prior to the end of the calendar year. This is an industry practice for municipal utilities. It's been done in Los Angeles since the 1900s. It's based on 8% of our gross revenues for the last fiscal year, so fiscal year that ended in June of 2015. It's limited by 2 tests, which are listed in the document. These are from the master bond resolution. One is that we have sufficient net income, and the other test is on how much debt we carry on our books. Both of those tests are met.
Are there questions or comments? Is there a motion? Second. Those in favor?
Wait.
Oh, Dr. Pickle.
We reviewed the calculation and concur with the calculation. We agree with the process as is being done, has been done for almost a century, and has been reaffirmed by the voters in terms of the process in Charter Amendment J that we passed in 2011. While free would be better from the payer's perspective, the process is in place.
Is there a motion?
I'll move.
Second. Those in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much. We move to filed items, 31A, Financial Services Monthly Report.
So again, it's in the newer format. We asked for feedback. We've got some positive feedback back on this. Hopefully it does provide in a more concise way the financial standing of the department.
Questions? Power system.
So I have 2 comments I want to point out. Is one, you see on our power system report a term transaction for natural gas. And you see these occasionally, but I'd like to put that into context of what we're trying to achieve. This is part of our risk hedging program. And if you think about a portfolio of natural gas that we need to purchase for our power plants, a typical bell-shaped curve is going to have very, very wide tails. And what we're trying to do is limit the risk. And as we do these transactions in a very methodical way, is that we're trying to pull those tails in closer and closer to the center so we limit volatility. So as we've entered these transactions over the course of many years, this is an example of one, we've reduced the risk to our portfolio of tens of millions of dollars by doing it this way. We're not trying to time the market. We're not trying to get the best price. What we're trying to do is roll in a dollar cost averaging way to limit our risk. So when you see these, I just want to point out it's not just a one-off transaction. It's part of a methodical process that is supervised by our Executive Risk Policy Committee to review transactions and set up those policies. And these transactions are done under that guidance as we move forward. So I just want to highlight that and put that into context. The other comment I wanted to make was really on the renewable strategy is that the Owens Gorge power plants, which are run-of-the-river hydro plants that count for our renewables portfolio, they were in a state of refurbishment. And it took a long time to refurbish these old units. They are back. They were commissioned in October. So now we are prepared to hopefully hopefully, Marty, have 100% of our water, but we will be able to capture this renewable energy for next year. This year, just to give you an idea, 0.18% came from our small hydro, and typically we plan for 2%.
Wow.
So by having these units back and hopefully having a large snowpack year, we'll be ready to really supplement our renewables program moving forward. So that's a real significant accomplishment of the power system.
Thank you. Very important and useful. Any questions on this item? Hearing none, RPS projects.
So RPS was what I was referring to as a combination of our Owens Gorge and the impact on the renewables.
That's what I thought. I wasn't sure. Okay, management reports, 32A, El Nino awareness and preparation.
As you're aware, there's I've gone from being the drought expert to, I guess, I'm becoming an El Nino expert according to the news. But there's a lot of preparations, both in water and power systems, as well as the city as a whole, for coming El Nino storms. So with us today, we have Lisa Hayes from our Office of Emergency Management. She works for Pat Finley, who heads up this area, and she's been our liaison with the city and county and other agencies that are working on making sure that the city is prepared as we can be for potential storms. So Lisa will give a quick review of what's going on in this arena, and then we'll be able to answer any questions. And we have water and power representatives who can answer any questions if you have specific issues with what we're doing to make sure that we're as prepared as possible. Lisa.
Okay, good afternoon. Again, I'm with the Office of Emergency Management, and I have been designated as a liaison to the Mayor's El Nino Task Force. So a lot of that information will be funneled through my office, the task force information back to the department. So as I'm sure you all know, El Nino is here, and the scientists predict that this will be a very strong El Nino year. I won't go into a whole lot of deep science. I'm not a scientist. But we're looking at a 96% chance that this will be the largest El Nino in the last 50 years. So what does that mean? It means stronger storms and a lot more frequent storms. This is all caused by a high pressure system that is warming the waters north of the South Pacific. And it also, this high pressure system is part of the reason for the droughts that we have in the summer months. So married together, those conditions of drought, which lead to wildfire, and then, of course, scorched earth. When the El Nino storms come, it sloughs off that earth, and then that results in debris flow. And so that is one of the impacts of El Nino. In addition to that, we'll see, again, more frequent storms. Normally, during any rainy season in Southern California, we get between 5 and 10 storms. So we're probably looking to double that, maybe even triple that, if the predictions are correct. It could also end up being a heavy year for coastal erosion because of large waves and rip currents. And, of course, there's much concern about flooding. And, will the collection systems work? And if not, how will that affect the landscape? And again, debris flow near recent burn areas. And fortunately, we haven't had any recent burn areas. I believe the last time we had major wildfires in the city was Sayre, so it's been some years and there's been regrowth. But in the county areas where there have been recent burn conditions, those areas are looking at K-railing and making sure that debris flow doesn't impact the residents and infrastructure. So on a large scale, the city is really aggressively preparing for El Nino. Again, the mayor issued his Directive 14, which said that these responding organizations or agencies will pull together collaboratively and make sure that they're addressing their core missions, they're identifying any gaps in their response as well as their resources. And if there are any issues with that, then collectively addressing those and making sure that we have the necessary resources to respond to any El Nino condition. I'm sure you've heard there's been El Nino town hall meetings. My office has attended 2 of them. We have 3 additional ones to attend. And these have been well attended by the community. There's been probably, on average, about 100 people in attendance, and that's pretty good for a town hall meeting. So the residents are being provided with information regarding our response as a city, as well as they have the opportunity to ask us questions about department response. So that has been a really great highlight of this process. The county has also been aggressively making sure that the collection systems are maintained and they have been rehabbed so that they can collect this large amount of water that could potentially fall. The city, again, all these collaborative departments are preparing the infrastructure and the resources so that we can attack any hazards or vulnerabilities that are currently out there. They're mitigating infrastructure. The Emergency Management Department is, again, making sure the EOC is ready and that all equipment is in place. One example of one of our city departments that is being very proactive in messaging is the Bureau of Sanitation. They're messaging their residents or the customers and making sure that they know that they should bring in their trash cans once they've been emptied or collected, the trash, so that those trash cans don't float down the street and clog up storm drains. LAPD is proactively addressing the homeless situation near riverbeds or hillsides, making sure that those persons know the upcoming conditions of El Nino and can move to different locations if necessary. Collectively, again, we'll all be monitoring the weather. Anytime there's a storm approaching, a very large storm approaching, the Emergency Management Department pulls together a telephone conference, and basically all the departments that have a response element, they discuss what their strategies are, what their core functions will be during the storm, as well as identifying any types of gaps that can be assisted with. One element of the city's effort this year is Notify LA. And so many of the residents, our employees, are being advised to sign up for Notify LA. And this is basically an alert and warning system. You sign up, you add your phone number, your landline or your cell phone, and then you're provided with emergency messaging regarding
Lisa, can you
specific
read
issues.
off the actual website that they go to? Just
Yes.
as Notify LA.
And actually, at the end of the presentation, your handout, there is a list of websites. It's www.notifyla.com.
We'll just wait till the end. Don't fake it.
I'm sorry. Okay. .org. Go back. Thank you. Okay, so our public affairs, internally, we're also doing a whole lot. And public affairs has been really valuable in making sure that our employees know, again, to sign up for Notify LA. An announcement went out yesterday. I believe you have an attachment with your handout. And it gives a one-page fact sheet on El Nino, what you can do to prepare. And we definitely want our employees prepared for any type of hazard, actually, both at home and here at work. And they need to know what the expectations are for them as employees. My office, again, we are the liaison for the El Nino Task Force. We're also preparing a power system El Nino exercise coming up next week. And some of the support organizations will also be in attendance at that. And we'll look at what we're going to do prior to El Nino storm, during, as well as the recovery process. The systems are also involved in preparations. And as a whole, the department is making sure that contact lists are updated, emergency contact information is updated, that we have supplies and equipment staged at our facilities in the event that we need personnel to stay past their working hours or longer shifts. We want to make sure that we can accommodate them. We need to identify additional staff if we have to augment our customer service centers, and that has been done, and that has also been done in our power system dispatch, as well as other divisions. We are looking at monitoring our facilities for erosion-prone conditions and addressing those hazards as necessary. Our equipment and our vehicles, if they're emergency response vehicles, then they're being maintained and they're being moved and readied for potential response. And again, we'll be monitoring the weather every day, and when there is a storm approaching, we will be in touch with the Emergency Management Department, making sure that they know what our core mission is during the storm, as well as any needs that we may have, or any other departments addressing their needs. So, more specifically for those systems, the power system has been really aggressively pushing information to all their divisions, making sure that managers are aware of what El Nino means in terms of the science and the potential hazard and damage it could create for facilities as well as the system itself. They've been making sure that their employees are aware of what the expectations are with regards to safety, with regards to having to stay past their normal working hours, and making sure that their employees know they need a family preparedness plan so that if they have to stay for a longer period of time, their families know what to do, and it's not much more of an inconvenience. Again, working with fleet services to ensure that our equipment and vehicles are ready and maintained, and that we are checking our rights of way to make sure that hazards and potential vulnerabilities are addressed. In our water systems, similarly, we are focusing on our aqueduct operations, making sure that those clearing basins are cleaned out. Spreading basins are cleaned, working with our fleet operators and our heavy equipment operators to make sure that we'll have access to those vehicles. Within property management, making sure our slopes are clear of hazardous materials that could basically create a problem for our facilities. With reservoir surveillance, water system is busy monitoring and assessing those erosion-prone conditions as well. And within treatment operations, making sure the turbidity is within the appropriate ranges. So I would definitely defer to the systems for any specific questions for readiness of those systems, and I'll take any other questions.
Commissioner Barat.
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. Whose department will erosion, in the hillsides, those areas that, may have mudslides or houses sliding down, the hills because it's just so much water and the ground can't absorb it all? How do we prepare for that, and how do we let the residents know how to prepare for that?
I believe that would fall within the Bureau of Engineering regarding slope stabilization, and I'm sure some of that resides with homeowners as well. But if we begin to see debris flow, the Emergency Management Department has some predefined triggers which will establish the activation of the Emergency Operations Center. So all the agencies with a role in emergency operations will send representatives to the EOC, and collectively they'll work together. If it's an issue of potential home sliding, Bureau of Engineering will have staff available to assist with whatever the measures are to reach the residents. Other agencies who have a direct role in perhaps perimeter control, life and safety, relocation. So it'll be a collective effort, but the technical aspect of it, I believe, would be Bureau of Engineering.
Would you say that it's not too early now for people to prepare in the event that this would happen in the hillsides?
Absolutely, residents should be preparing. If you do live on a hillside where there has been recent burn, that probably is one of your concerns, and residents should speak with their insurance agents. They should also probably be speaking to the Bureau of Engineering for further direction on how to proceed with slope stabilization.
Right, because I've had many questions from people saying, well, what do I do? How do I prepare?
Sure, because a lot of that is private property issues and rights of way. So,
there was an article in the LA Times a couple of days ago that said that the Bureau of Sanitation probably will not pick up trash during El Nino because they're afraid that there'll be large items that will block the storm drains. Do you have any further knowledge of that, about the trash pickup?
I don't.
If I can speak to that very quickly. We had a meeting of the general managers of all the departments on El Nino Prep the other day, and Enrique Saldivar told us anecdotally that two of the most significant issues they had with flooding, one, people put a mattress out for collection that blocked a critical storm drain, and then this issue of trash cans. And so they do plan to try to do outreach, or at least remind people to not put their cans out in a full-bore deluge. So they have an ad campaign that they're building up to let people know.
So that means that they will not be picking up. If you can't put your trash can out, then you're not.
I'm sure they'll work on defining alternate days, but it was a significant issue that happened in I think it was the 86, 87 El Nino.
Right, with the mattress, yeah, I remember that. Okay, I think the people are asking about that now as well.
Right.
Yeah, thanks.
Other questions?
I do want to mention very quickly, sir, I had I won't say luck, to be here during our last El Nino event. And one of the impacts that you need to be prepared for is that when there are electric outages, the outage time can be substantially enlarged, largely due to access. You know, the roads are flooded. We're trying to work with PD to see if we can make linkages with them to help us get into areas that we need to, but that was an upshot that I recall from last time. And you see odd things like erosion. We have a lot of transmission towers and washes. Even on their large concrete structures, you can end up with erosion. We had a little recent erosion under the aqueduct, the last big storm that we had. So there's a lot of consequence associated with this, and we're doing our best to try to think through it in advance and prepare as much as we can.
How much notice are we likely to have of a big storm approaching?
This is the reason you want to sign up for that Notify LA. It takes up about 30 seconds. Thank you very much. Yeah, the mayor pop quizzed us in Chambers the other day. He said, "How many of you have signed up?" And I'm thinking, should I but you can narrow the amount of information you get, and there's great weather data out there now that can give you, 20 minutes, an hour warning of those large cells. I don't know how granular necessarily it's going to be, but I think that's the kind of notice, that's the kind of thing you're going to see.
Thank you very much. Very helpful presentation.
Great, thank you.
32B rates proposal outreach and update. Mr. Rates Outreach?
Something like that. Good afternoon, commissioners. Just wanted to give you a brief update on some of the outreach that we've been doing. Obviously, you're all aware that we've been having public discussions in the community about rates and the need for infrastructure improvement, and in preparation for those coming to you in the coming weeks and months, we wanted to give you an update since it's been a little while. So we put together a few quick slides for you. This slide shows where we've been. We've gone all over the community. We've given 57 rate presentations over the last 6 months, starting in July. As you can see, we've tried to capture every part of the city. We either attended or hosted meetings. So some of these meetings were neighborhood councils, trade groups, things of that nature. Some of them were meetings we actually hosted ourselves. We've had as little as 0 attendees to some of these meetings and as many as 100 plus. I'd say on average, and I think you should have been supplied with some numbers. If not, we can supply you. But on average, there's probably been about 15 or so people at these community meetings. Before we go any further, I do want to thank the staff who had to arrange and attend these 57 meetings. So senior staff, all the people around this horseshoe attended many of these meetings all over the city. I want to thank Stephanie Spicer and our community relations team who arranged many of these meetings, and David Rahimian, who also with Stephanie arranged a lot of these meetings. The whole community relations team, the communications team, the speakers bureau, and of course Reggie, who he himself set up and took down all of these meetings. So it's been a big lift for all of us, but it's why we're here, to talk to the community, to engage with the community, to explain to the community. So that's what we've done. What did we hear? So generally, the community was pretty supportive of why we were coming to them and asking for more rates. They understood the investment in our infrastructure. They understood the importance of safe and reliable water and power, both as life safety and for the economy. And we had some productive conversations with the community. As you can imagine, quite a few questions about the drought, what we're doing about the drought and where we're going, and we talked a lot about investment there. Questions on the department's financial relationship with the city, that came up a lot, and there were some very good productive conversations. Concerns from the community about squeezing the middle class, about low income and the effects of any rate increase on that. And so we found it was very productive, and we had quite a good dialogue with the community. A little bit more of how we interacted other than these community meetings. myladp.com, we had quite a few people sign up, Facebook, video, Twitter, YouTube. So as you can see, quite a few people interacted with our social media and our electronic campaign, website, video, and emails. So a little bit about next steps, what's going to happen next to prepare you guys for the discussion. We are separating water and power for a variety of reasons. We expect to bring to you in the next board meeting the final water ordinance for your consideration. Prop 218 compliance, there's time limits, and to ensure that you guys can look at it and then City Council can have the appropriate amount of time to look at it, we had to separate the two. Following that, January 5th, we will likely bring the power ordinance to you. Part of that is, I know the ratepayer advocate is finalizing his analysis of that, and we expect to have that in time for the January 5th meeting for everyone to review. If that moves forward after your consideration, we hope that Council Committee takes it up in around January 20th. February presentation to City Council and a vote, and then if all goes as planned, then the rates would take effect in April. So that's what we have.
Just again, and a reminder, the last 3 dates are obviously speculative, and it's based on the action of this board, but we have to have a timeline that we're working with.
You can't enforce these, Madam Chairman?
Do we have to, I'm not saying, well, do we have to as a board, take action on December 15th and the 5th?
So the board, it's to the discretion of the board about whether you take action or not. You have the option to approve, not approve, or defer. Those are the three options that you have, and that's at your discretion. There are timing implications of all three of those decisions, which we can discuss.
I think it would be safe to say that if we want a time frame resembling this, then we have to take action on those dates.
Right, that I see, but I guess what I'm saying is if some chance that it's not resolved here, then what happens to the timeline? That's my question.
So it would get pushed. Part of the issue of bringing the water rate ordinance to you all on the 15th is that we do have Prop 218 compliance issues where we need to send out notices to be safe, as the lawyers will tell us. We need about 50 days, and it takes some time for the mailing cycle for us to mail out notices to all of our customers. So we do put some extra days into there. So we're looking at 65 to 70 days to ensure that we've met that compliance. And so that could only happen after a proactive vote in favor, whether you guys do that or not. Obviously, I'm not. That's your discretion. But any delay to that would then continue to delay that process, and council cannot vote on final approval until that process is complete. So there is that 60 to 70 day time period between when you all can vote and we can send that notices out and when council can give a final vote. So any delay, and especially through the holidays, you lose quite a bit of time, and it would push anything even further due to that.
And when will we see what's considered the final draft, what we're going to vote on the 15th and the 5th?
So do you want to talk a little bit about the timing of
the schedule
that?
right now? One thing just to add before I start on that is Dr. Pickle and his staff haven't done many of these presentations. Every time I looked up, Dr. Pickle and his staff were there, so they attended, I think, virtually every...
Yeah. My apologies for...
It felt like everyone. It was only 36 of the 57.
Right. So at any rate, the schedule and what the final... we are working very hard right now with Dr. Pickle and his staff and with Navigant, his consultant, to work through the specifics of the rate action. We expect that we should get schedule-wise, correct me if I'm wrong, December 4th we should see, which is the end of this week, we should see the report from Navigant. There'll be an additional report, I think, that follows 2 to 3 days later from Dr. Pickle and his staff on the water rate. And then we are also expecting December 15th, roughly, when we'll get a report on the power. So our preparation is to have that final proposal. I think Dr. Pickle will talk about some of the outreach he's going to do But we're going to be the previous week to your board meeting. That's when we'll be sending you the final ordinance with a presentation. So it would be in that same time frame, the Thursday or the Wednesday or Thursday.
So we
before.
will have time to review it before
Correct.
we meet.
Yeah.
We also are largely, we have a lot of the work done. We just need to make sure certain items stay open that we may need to adjust from the RPA's perspective. We would be happy to sit down with you individually and walk through 85% of it now so that you have a chance to absorb it and ask questions and feel more prepared as we get closer to December.
We do have, if you want, quickly run through the presentation we've been giving to the community. It is loaded up. We can do that now if you guys would like, or we can wait. I'm conscious of everyone's time.
Before we go into that, if you're interested, our report on water, the first step of it, the Navigant report, should be out Friday, assuming a couple key things fall into place correctly. We anticipate they will. And then we'll be supplementing that with other comments on the water report, our own comments. Then we'll have a report on the power proposal and a series of common core costs, including labor costs, as part of the power report. And we expect to have that out the week of the 15th. We're planning on doing outreach to the DWP MOU group on the water report this Saturday morning, followed by the LA Alliance Neighborhood Councils a little bit later that morning, and then a public outreach meeting at the Board of Public Works meeting room on Wednesday the 9th. And we'll be announcing the specifics of that shortly. We would love to present at Bank on next Thursday evening.
Yes, the 10th.
If that
Yes.
suits your schedule, and
Yes.
that would be on the water report.
Right. Good.
Then we'll have more details, and also we're happy to meet with you if any questions of our review. Under the charter, I report to you. You're free at any point to give me a call on our perspectives on this, and we would be happy to set up any meeting you'd like.
I happen to have attended a few of these meetings, including the one that was sponsored by Scope and Lane. Jessica Goodhart, I see her there. I think that's her. I would highly recommend there are communities that do not have the resources. They don't have the cars. They don't have the resources to get to these meetings. And as Commissioners Davis and Rodriguez, and I think this commission can't speak for them, but I think we support trying to make sure that there's an extra effort and resources placed in getting the word out to these communities. That means going to the local environmental justice groups, going to Parents of Watts, going to the Boys and Girls Clubs in CDs 9, 8, and 10, going to, and at least inviting them so that they had an opportunity. But certainly I saw that the efforts of Scope and Lane in putting together, it was the highest attended meeting. There were well over 100 people. Jeff, Marty, Neil, everybody did a phenomenal job. Joe on communications, Wendy, and I assume at your direction, Mr. Lipa. So I'm giving you credit for this, for putting on a great show, listening to the community, and doing real outreach. It's a little more difficult. It takes a little more time, but I think that it'll pay off. It's like making a sale. Or asking somebody to dance at that first high school dance. Just because you get them to dance and
where is
don't
this going?
Don't forget them after you get them to dance, and do the proper maintenance. And maybe
That was a pretty good recovery.
maybe
Very afraid
Felicia
there for a
could give me some more lessons. Marcy, will you help me out of this?
You got yourself into it.
You get my point. And and along those lines, I think that it's important not just to have outreach now to sell it, but afterwards. Just because we sold it doesn't mean people will be happy with it. And I think it's important to make sure that we have significant resources dedicated to getting into these communities after the rate increase, because a lot of people are just going to say, well, why didn't you ask me? You know, I mean, many of them, we've been through that before. But so thanks for what I hear is a yeoman's job compared to prior rate cases.
Yeah.
Continue to do it, but especially after these ratepayer advocate reports, I really want to make sure that people know now that the timeline on when these reports are coming out, so they can have an opportunity to look at it if they want to when it comes out, and not be like, well, where was our ratepayer advocate? I know that Dr. Pickle has put an enormous amount of work, thankless time, and took an enormous pay cut, I'll speak on his behalf, to take this job. And I think that we're very fortunate to have him, even with some of the hiccups. But I think that it's been good to have an independent advocate out there. And so for the ratepayer advocate report, I would just want to make sure that some of these groups that aren't reached, that haven't shown up, reach out through the community leaders and try to make sure that they get a hold of that. And then we can vote with good conscience at these, on your timeline, that the community has been touched. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Can I add to that, please?
Please.
I attended, I think, at least 3 of the presentations, and I think what was important is that senior staff was there. It showed tremendous respect for the community and the organizations that the senior staff was there. And I think people, maybe for the first time, saw a real person from DWP. You know, not just this amorphous DWP in this building, but real people that spoke to them and in English, you know, that they could understand. And I just think, you know, Jeff was great, and Mike and Marty, terrific. I mean, and Guy, I mean, it was great. And I think you won over a lot of people who had questions and were able to express themselves. And I want to thank you very, very much for coming to my organizations. And really, the presentations were really terrific.
Other praise? Are you blushing, Guy?
Yeah. It's everyone else.
Thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Council.
Yes, the board will move to closed session, and the board shall publicly report any action taken in closed session and the vote or abstention of every member present thereon in accordance with Section 54, 957.1 of the California Government Code.
Thank you.